Good evening, everybody, and a big welcome from Kahani Kancheti. Our subject of discussion today is an author's chat with Arjun Ghosh. The book he has written is called 6 Years on the Dope Trail. Now, and I suspect there are a number of people who have come in today are joining Kahani Kancheti's event for the first time. So a little background, Kahani Kancheti is actually a digital platform, and we also have a website. We dabble with anything that can be broadly brought under the umbrella called art and culture. So it's theater, poetry, cinema, books, music, whole lot of it. And we keep having these Facebook live chats, and we run blogs, we do book reviews, we do film reviews, all kinds of things that can be termed as I said, art and culture. Now, in our Facebook chats, which many of you all have been attending regularly, and I hope after this, you all, some more, those who all are joining us for the first time, will continue to follow us on our page in Facebook. We also have a YouTube channel, and you can always go to our YouTube channel where all our Facebook live shows or any other live shows is uploaded, and there we are. So today, now we have the discussion on the 6 years on the dope trail. I will first introduce you to our, there are two guests today. And by the way, we had also talked about the third guest in our post, Mr. Vivek Mukherjee. Vivek is attending the memorial service for Danish Iqbal, who was his ex-colleague, and therefore he will not be able to attend today. But then to lead this discussion today with Arjun Ghosh, we have Avijit Dutt. Now, Avijit Dutt is, as I say, that he is our marquee guest today, because with Avijit Dutt, I presume Kahani Kancheti will get a few more brownie points for having asked him over. So, Avijit, thank you very much for coming in. And going to give us some more brand value. That's what is going to happen. But for those, just to give you a quick thing about Avijit, Avi Dutt, that's I'm more comfortable calling him that. He is a very, very old friend. We have been colleagues in the business of advertising. And Avi is one of our few friends who features in the Wikipedia. So that I keep mentioning that. He, as you know, is an actor. He has been the creative director of many advertising agencies, a writer. He is into communications consultancy. He lives and works out of Delhi, though he is from Kolkata like all of us. And he incidentally started his career teaching in St. Paul's School in Darjeeling. So he's some kind of a Paulite of that. Well, as a theater director and actor, he has done over 100 plays in English, Hindi, and Bengali. He's multilingual. And he has also dramatized Hajar Churasi Ki Maa by Mahashuta Devi with Shamanand Jalan. Incidentally, he has also launched the Child Line with UNICEF and National Human Rights Commission. And he has played a number of key roles in a number of Hollywood movies like the Kama Sutra and the second best exotic Marigold Hotel, where he has been rubbing shoulders with Dame Judi Dench. So very proud to have a friend, who is in such great company. And of course, don't forget, he was a guy in Pipli Live, and also the raw guy, who is in Madras Cafe, that film which features John Abraham, and of course the defense lawyer in No One Killed Jessica. Of course, there is one thing about him, is that every time he is gifted a Titan watch, he cries. He weeps whenever he is given a Titan watch. And of late, I'm finding him in a very, a very affectionate thing when it comes to a shaving product. Abhi, I've been watching that Bombay shaving thing, in which, you're very happy and slightly embarrassed when your son gives you those shaving stuff. And along with that, today we have the author of the book, 6 Years on the Dope Trail, Arjun Ghosh. Now, Arjun, again, we have been in the same college. And incidentally, I love to say this, that we were in the college on two different sides of the political spectrum. So there have been situations where Arjun and I have, sloganed each other. One round came from us, the one round came from Arjun, and then that's what happened. And then, of course, we caught up in advertising, where we all catch up, like we all three are from advertising. We caught up in advertising, and then Arjun and I even worked together for a while. And we continue, and he is the one who has written. Now, one thing I want to tell you about both Abhi and Arjun and therefore I think is going to make this thing very interesting, is that they have actually been a part of the world, part of a system, part of a genre, when where we, though I was also in Calcutta at that point of time, I have been more on the periphery. I really hadn't crossed the border, but they have really been inside the great 60s, the late 60s, and the early 70s, which is all about counterculture, which is all about rock music, which is all about the dope trade. So, having said all this and set the stage for this discussion today, I now leave it to Abhi and Arjun to take it on from here. I will be coming back as and when I'm required. I literally leave the stage to you all. Right? Okay.
Thank you. Hi, Arjun.
Hi, Avijit.
So, high times that we look back at with great joy and great warmth. When we were in the middle of it, we never thought it was going to result in books, in tales that we could tell our kids, or really look back to see that we'll survive so many years.
Actually, right. So I was saying this book, you mentioned tales to kids. This book happened because of my son, because I used to keep on telling him stories on the road. So he kept on telling me, why don't you write about it? So I said, yeah, I will. So then one day he took my computer and he put it on and he opened the file and said, my book. Every day you're going to see this whenever you So that's how I started writing.
Brilliant.
So thanks to Mowgli.
Thank you, Mowgli. We are all the happier for it. Because there's so much of one's life that you see in the book.
See, as I was saying yesterday, you were very much part of the whole scene. I mean, you were part of what I call the magic circle. And you could have very well have written this book, because I'm sure all the people who I met, who were kind of signposts for me on the road, I think you met them or you met people very similar to them.
Yes.
So you were very much a part of them.
But you take us plonk into Afghanistan to start with. Kabul was this faraway destination. Day before yesterday, coincidentally, I was doing a lecture at the Afghanistan embassy, and I was telling the ambassador about your book, and he kind of looked away to say that, do I know that period? Of course, I know it very well. Except that I also told him that we used to look forward to people coming back from Mazar-e-Sharif for the right kind of things, and not necessarily the dried nuts and fruits. But it starts with Afghanistan, it starts with that brilliant character, and then you carry on forward. It was amazing, because many of us dreamt of that overland trip via Herat, etc., up to Europe, but you did it.
You see, I was also
those days.
That trip. The trip was supposed to go. I was going to Europe back.
Right.
But what happened is I got stuck in Afghanistan for 3-4 months till the winter came, because a stupid mistake which the Afghan embassy over here did. I asked for a 30-day tourist visa.
Right.
So on the top of the visa, they gave me period of stay 30 days. But the title of the visa, they made it entry visa, which is supposed to be 10 days. Now, I was blissfully in Afghanistan and I had everything ready, to go to the next leg. Right. It was through Iran and Turkey. But in Afghanistan those days, when you wanted to leave the country, you had to get an exit visa. Right. So after about 15 days or 20 days, I said, chalo, I'll get the exit visa to leave. So when I went to get the exit visa, they said like, but you're in the country illegally. So I said, what do you mean? It says period of 30 days. He said, yeah,
Right.
but on top it says entry, because this guy had
Right.
cut out tourist, cut out transit and left entry open. Entry
Oh,
visa is 10 days. So I said, but it's 30 days. You've written, your embassy had written 30 days. They said, but you say this is right. I say that is right. A major trip. So this chap took my passport and said, sorry, we can't go. I will like take this matter up with external affairs.
oh
Whatever.
man.
And he gave me a cheat saying that anyone, and you know, I had to go after that visa from department to department, and it took me 3.5 months and
Wow.
or 4 months. By the time it was winter, the passes were all snowed out, so there was no way I could make it overland anymore. So that was what had happened. But while all this was happening, I had these characters I met like Javed.
Right.
They made
Right.
life very, very interesting.
You know, that period threw up these huge opportunities for people across the globe. And like I was mentioning somewhere else, that this was really one last opportunity humankind had to look at life another way. Maybe led by the thinking of Timothy Leary, Aldous Huxley, and etc. But I think we wasted it, or it got taken over by other interests of hard drugs and big money. But really, the characters who would be coming out and the people that we'd be meeting, that is what made it special. And your book, I think, celebrates them. So may I read a bit about Baba Joe, the Malaysian sadhu, the Malaysian Tamil sadhu, if I may say. Joe, I cried. Oh my God, I was speechless with surprise. What a fluid motion this was, so characteristic of Joe. He got up and moved next to me, a little away from the group. I'm no longer Joe, he said. They call me Mahesh Raj here, though my guru has given me another name. Where have you been all these years, and how come you're like this? You become a Baba or what? I spluttered, unable to contain my surprise. Joe smiled his typical calm smile I remembered from Goa, that infectious smile that you could not help but return. Slowly, my friend, he said, all in good time. I'm sure you're here for a few days, and so am I. We'll talk and catch up like old friends. Well met. Over the next few days, I met Baba Joe in different places in Manikaran, at the hot water pond, sitting on rocks on the hillside to catch the warmth of the mountain sun, at the little bonfires that the sadhus lit in the night, as he boiled rice and dal in the small hot water basins for the little groups of sadhus, which was the alms that he received from the villagers and generously insisted that I share with him. Whenever we had the opportunity, we talked. And he told me his story of transforming to Mahesh Raj from Joe, though I always think of him as Baba Joe. Remarkable, absolutely. The characters that you talked about are just incredible. I mean, we'll talk about this later, but you first, your reaction to that.
You see, this Joe thing is like a very typical, like kind of a transformation which happened. Because, those days, the travelers coming, whether from the West, Joe was from the East, but coming to India, a whole lot of people like Richard Alpert and all, they came, and the Beatles, of course, they came in search of salvation. But there was another group of people like Joe who came, like the dope and the beach and the parties and the mountains. But then suddenly something happened to them. that suddenly India got them. And slowly, Joe, of course, was a very extreme case, because from the Joe I knew in Goa to the Joe I met in Manikaran, like complete, transformation. So there was this kind of was the transformation that happened with Joe, and it was like one of the really rich experiences of my life to meet Joe twice, once in Goa, once in Manikaran, and just talk to him and to share in his experiences in this journey.
Arjun, there's a message from an old flautist friend from college, Arjun Ghosh, who is now in Montreal.
Yeah.
He says, remember well the Manikaran days. How about the Manali experience? So, Ishan was a flautist, and we also formed a band together for a short period of time. Ishan and Claire, his wife, you couldn't make out the difference when you were spotting them from the back. Both had long, silky hair. And they got married. They had to get away from their families. And the two of them came to Manali. And coincidentally, ended up in a little place that I had in a place called Siar village, just before Manali on the hill on the left. And there were, I think, some others also there. I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 nights, Ishan and Claire were there. So I remember that very well, Ishan, and shall always.
See, I also went to Manali.
Right.
Like, I think it was 72, 73, when it was just, Manali was just one little road with a lot of, a few eating joints next to it.
Right.
And I don't know, you must have come across it. Bombay Guest House.
Yeah,
that used to be the place to crash.
Yeah.
And which used to have this glass on the table.
Yeah.
You went there, took your sleeping bag, found a place somewhere to put it down.
Yeah.
And in the morning when you left, you put 1 rupee 50 paisa in that glass. And as long as I stayed there, I think about 10, 15 days. I never saw who collected that. Someone must have, who was
right.
You just put it in, and then when you come back, you find. You don't come back, you don't put that 150 in that glass.
Right.
So that was Bombay. It was long time. But then Manikaran happened a few years later, of course.
Yes.
With Joe.
So, talking of the characters you met, the astounding characters. Wow, Ishan just put in 44 years married last week. That is a memory, man. That's 44 years ago. We were just talking about. Amazing. So, there's another character that I'm reading about from the story Kenny the Travel Guru. A flowing bright kaftan, an assortment of silver rings on his fingers, and a necklace of what looked like African beads around his neck added to his exotic persona. His companion was, of course, of white European extraction with light brown hair tied with multicolored ribbons, beautiful, elegant features, and grey blue eyes that looked at the world curiously. A pert little nose, delicately shaped pink lips, and a supple, slim body of delicate curves, clad in a long ankle-length skirt with silver jewelry around her neck, wrist, and in her ears. The couple was so striking and exotic in their contrast that I'm sure that all eyes are automatically drawn to them wherever they made an appearance. At one of the tea shops that the bus stopped at, is a comfort shop, and to have some hot tea in the bracing mountain air, I found myself next to the exotic guy. As he rolled the glass of tea in his palm and had a sip, he looked between me and his companions and said, "The driver of the bus reminds me of Neil Cassidy," naming the icon of the Beat generation who inspired Kerouac's Dean Moriarty character of On the Road, to whom Allen Ginsberg dedicated his most famous poem, Owl. The legendary driver who drove Ken Casey and his merry pranksters in their magic bus further across America, immortalized in Tom Wolfe's electric Kool-Aid acid test. I involuntarily responded to the name of one of my heroes of the time by exclaiming, "Electric Kool-Aid acid test. Sink!" The guy responded, clicking his fingers. The coin dropped in the same machine, he added mysteriously. Now the ice had been broken. He talked to me directly. "You Indian?" he asked. "I've been hanging out only with Westerners, and I'm happy to meet another Indian on the road." His smile starting from his eyes lit up with his whole face. "Another Indian?" I was really startled at this. Are you Indian?" I stammered. "Of course," was the reply. "I am Sikh. My name is Karandeep Singh Bajwa." The last while he gave his thick moustache a twirl and said with a military-like flourish. So, more about Ken in the second part. This Ken after Manali has gone back to the West, come back, etc. For Ken, it was a dream come true. Not only would he be in London, which is a global center of the counterculture movement and rock and roll, but he would land right in the middle of the music scene. The next few months were real heady for Ken. He toured with the band all over the UK and in between hit the London hip scene with a vengeance. The 100 Club on Oxford Street, the Marquee, various clubs and pubs around the Soho and Camden, the Lexington, the Roundhouse, all became his stomping ground. With his exotic looks and his Indian link, he became an instant hit in the London hip scene. As this was in the late 60s, and India was the flavor of the season, with the Beatles traveling to Mahesh Yogi's ashram in Hardwar, and Ravi Shankar making waves at Monterey and Woodstock. And so it goes. Remarkable recollections, remarkable characters, and put there wonderfully out. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Avijit. See, Ken is another character who, he went all over the world,
right,
without any money. I mean, he started with practically zero. I mean, he started off in Australia as a planter,
right,
working in a coffee thing, and then from there he just moved and just talked his way to all over the world. So he's another, and I kept on meeting him different times over a period of a few years.
Right.
Because I first met him there, then he went to the West, he came back, and when we used to talk, he used to tell me these stories which I pieced his life together, which was like something else.
Amazing, really. And the last story that you've got in the book about a common friend. Another place. Aishan adds, Pokhara was yet another place of meeting. Met quite a lot of musicians who visited after the Woodstock 1969. One of them, Trey Anastasia of Fish. Fantastic. So Ishan, Miti, my buddy who was at BBC and who was our friend in the same band as you and me. Sanjay Mishra, who played Jerry Garcia's last album with him, Blues Incantation. And I, along with a few other friends, were up in Pokhara. And Miti and I loved it so much that we stayed on. And soon realized that it had been 2 months and we were really, really down on our money. So, but we still had 24 rupees, which is what it cost from a station in India, that is after you crossed from Nepal, to get to Kolkata with our railway concession forms from a station called Nautanwa. But when we came down, we realized that Nautanwa station had been burnt down in the railway strike. So he said, what do we do? So this guy from the railway, he said, no problem, go to the next station and you get it from there. So we went to the next station, Gorakhpur, I think. And they said, no, you can't. You have to go back to Northern Wa and wait there. When the station gets functional, your discount becomes functional. Till then, it doesn't. So we had to find various ways and means to come back to Calcutta. And we did finally, of course. Stripped of a watch and a guitar, I think. But we made it back all in one piece. So talking about the last story, Arjun, and a magical character who Ishan, you, me, and many others know very well, Johnny Johans, the man with the opposite hand scratch. He used to do that very remarkable scratch. Johnny was so many things to so many people. And I think he symbolized that age most beautifully, living by his wits. And in Kathmandu, he was riding the wave on the crest and then crashed down to nothing. Somewhat like the movement, like the counterculture.
Absolutely. It's very, very, very symbolic of the whole, whole trip, right? And so, like, he's one of the main characters.
Sadly, it indicated the demise of the movement and the closure of the book. And for us, it was the end of an age, the age of innocence. And in came the nodders and the big money and the powder and the chemicals and all that rubbish.
See, what happened is, till it was in the mind expanders, where you talk about the psychedelics or the hash, let's say. It was the profit, big money motive wasn't there.
Yes.
As soon as this came in, the powders started from Bangkok to Kathmandu, and then it started coming from, over the Manipur. As soon as this happened, see, the criminal cartels got into it because it was big money.
That's right.
And so naturally, it all changed. Like it was criminalized, let's say.
Yes. And of course, that whole business of the laxity with which you looked at the recreational drugs was all over. And the new rules signified that you just might be looking at a criminal sentence if discovered with anything. So we're at a 729. We don't know how many people really attended here. But it's always good fun to chat with you, my friend. And hoping that maybe 2 or 3 others also joined in. Shujit, shall we call it a day?
Well, yes, we will. But before that, I just wanted to tell our guests today that it is not the numbers that really matter. And I'm sure both Abhi and Arjun will agree with me. It's the people who have come in today. We are all, in fact, I was sitting on the edge, as always. As I told you earlier, I was on the periphery. You all had crossed the border. Even today, I was on the periphery. The important thing is, when you talk about that time, as you said, like an adda, and our entire business in Kahani Kanchiti is to run, and we intend to, what shall I say, own that domain called addas. And, that's what we did. And I'm sure Ishan has been talking about. John Matthews says he's here. Well, John Saab, nice to have you. And those
John.
of you all who have missed a part of it, right, and want to see it later, tell others, those who, like I can see one fellow struggling for a long time. He's just not been able to get in. He's asking me all kinds of questions, which I really can't answer. Is Amit Bose, our friend Amit Bhola Bose. I don't know why Bhola can't get in. Every time he can't get in. So for everybody, we are going to have this up on.
He doesn't have Facebook. I said Amit doesn't have Facebook, so maybe that's why he's not signing in or something.
So what we do is that this event is going to go on to YouTube, and we'll give you the YouTube link on our Facebook page, and I'll share it with y'all. So anybody who says Aste Parini ki holo, I missed it, you know, the usuals, we will all get those usuals. So on those usuals, tell them now go to YouTube. So by tomorrow morning or maybe a little later tonight, it's going to be up on YouTube. So that's what is going to happen. And Arjun, just one question to you. It's a very stupid question coming from me. Is that but there is a difference. The difference is both of you all have been known branded advertising writers, right? Abhi, you have been into theater, so you have translated Haja Churashi and all that, other than being an actor. Arjun, you were a writer, we used to call them copywriters. Copywriters are no longer in existence. You all are all a kind of a vanishing tribe. They are called content writers. Whatever shit that content means, by the way. I'm sorry, it's not parliamentary language, but everybody writes content. Aap kya karte ho? Main content likhta hu. Arey wah. How and Jogada had told me that how do you write the content when you, I mean, on what basis? If you don't have the content, how can you be a content writer? I mean, that I think was the marvel from Jogada. Anyway, so the thing is, how was it to write a book as writing, you know, your award-winning campaign for Delhi Police? For instance, I'm just drawing an example. How is it to write a book from writing advertising copy? How was it to write a book? I mean, how is it to?
How was it? Let's say, you know, once that's the thing. As I was telling Avijit, you know, these stories. I had all these stories. I used to keep telling my children, mainly Mowgli and Duglu. Mowgli was very excited. And so one day, when we had that little office in Chittaranjan Park, he said, like, why don't you start writing? Why don't you put this down, right? And I said, yeah, I'll do it. As usual, you know. So then I was telling you, he put a folder on my desktop of my computer saying my book. And he said, you just start writing. Just write one line or two lines. So I started. So once I started writing, is that old copywriter body copy habit. The old Neil French school of long copy. So then I started once, and then I just got into it. And once I got into it, it started flowing. And I think I finished writing the book in about 1.5 to 2 months. Wow. It was like, along with the other stuff which I was doing.
Really?
So it was great fun writing it, because also, I mean, Avijit will appreciate it and he'll confirm it, that once you're writing these things, you kind of go back to that time, that era, and you start reliving it. And when you start reliving it, it's like fantastic. Really? Because it was like a magical time. You know, that magical time, it was like, and even today, the people who were there, once you talk to them, it's a different, like I was talking to Nandon the other day on his birthday on the 21st. And Avijit was there when this used to happen. We used to all go into his room, waiting for that one new album record to come, vinyl, which Dubby or someone or Jug would get it from abroad. And we would be jammed into that room, maybe 15, 16 of us, the whole night, listening to this vinyl album, the latest Stones or whatever. And on his little radiogram. So Nandon was saying, yeah, man, you know, that radiogram I still have, but it's not in my room anymore. It's in the storage. I said, bring it, put it in your, you know, drawing room on a display stand or something like that.
But Arjun, it's these memories we pull out of the storehouse and then enjoy it. I mean, like Ishan, I'm sure, is celebrating with Claire today. Congratulations, Ishan and Claire, for last week's.
No, Abhi, I must tell you something. I must read this out. There is a lot of tear-jerking happening somewhere in other parts of the world outside our platform. Ishan not only says that he's enjoying the interaction, very nostalgic, and he has thanked me. Thank you, IG, for coming. And it says it triggered so many memories, associations, and stories that have been buried over the last 3-4 decades. That's it. That is what we were wanting. We were trying to bring it back and bring it alive. This thing about vinyl in Nandon's house and Indrani senses, it was a very interesting discussion. Yes, it was. So, with that, I will put up the YouTube link on our Facebook page. Well, Abhi, there is one small little debt I owe you, which among other things, I'll tell you what that is. You'll be surprised. Abhi also runs a kind of a NGO where he does blood testing in the rural areas. And there is a motorbike, and the motorbike guy goes. He's a pathologist. He checks out the blood testing exercise. So I had once told him that why the hell are you into this? And he gave me a very interesting answer. He said that, well, Shujit, just to stay relevant. And I said, my God, that's a wonderful thing, to stay relevant, because, we probably have done our innings, we have played it out, but now we are just trying to stay relevant. We are writing, Arjun has written this book, and he is doing so many things, and maybe we at Kahani Kancheti. Now, the debt is that when somebody asks me, why are you doing all this? I give them that answer is to stay relevant. And I try to copy the same way you told me. Very hushed manner, that is to stay relevant. So I also put on that act and say, put relevant. That's it. So we are all relevant. We have not gone
by the way, Shujit, I'm writing a series of short stories. Okay.
Brilliant.
I've written four or five. And once I add to it, maybe I'll bring out a collection or something.
Lovely. Look forward to that, Arjun.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Look forward to that. Thank you very much.
Maybe I'll send you.
Thank you, Mamu.
Send you a couple of them.
Thank you, Ma. Take care.
Send me also one.
Right, you also. Both of you.
Right.
Thanks.
Super.
Bye.
Thank you very much. And thank you for coming. Take care. Take care, everybody. Okay.
You too.
Okay.
Bye.
Thank you. And for those of us who have been with us, a big thank you for joining us today. I'm sure you all enjoyed this session as much as we did. Many of us traveled back in time, and that was the whole idea. Please keep following us on our YouTube. Follow us on our YouTube. Subscribe. Go to our program that we are having. For that great session mention that you made. I'm glad you loved it. I'm sure all of you all belonging to that era would have loved this whole thing. And go to our website. We are growing organically. Kahani Kancheti. Thank you from everybody at Kahani Kancheti for joining us today. Goodbye and good luck.